Hey, 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 hey.
Is everyone
Welcome.
Ooh. I feel it.
It's got a... Oh, hello.
Hi,
Nigel.
Nigel. Hey, Nigel.
Rainbow. Oh,
Who's
hi.
there?
Rainbow.
Rainbow. Hi. Oh,
Hi,
Sis
Sis
Kenzie.
Hi, Lulu.
Hi.
Open for me, yeah. Hey, Jess.
Jessie.
Open for me, yeah. Blessings, baby, get it. Open for me, yeah.
You've been music.
I know.
Ooh. How's everybody doing? Welcome.
I can see.
This is the Esther.
Hi, Dimple. Welcome.
Welcome.
Ooh. You know,
We have an excuse. We
do have an excuse. We were recording an episode and it got deep. We were crying, so we had to, take a little moment and we ran over recording. So we just let the Holy Spirit flow a little bit. Hi, Mercy.
Hi, Mercy.
Open for me, yeah. Blessings, baby.
What's that?
Open for me, yeah. Blessings, baby.
We're ready. Just put your phone down and really dance.
Sorry. I want to dance, but I'm shy.
She's shy. Baby girl shy.
Can I move my legs, girl?
Change my gear. King of Judah.
How's everyone doing? How's your day? Let us know. Since this
Sorry. I can't see.
we'll read for you. Hey, go.
It's okay. We'll read. The hand of God. Sis Kenzie, it's not a lie. It's not a lie. Thank you, Dimple. Thank you, Sis Dimple. God, hand of God.
Open for me.
What song? Who's singing this?
It is Onismus. Open for me, yeah. Blessings, baby.
This is Lavenda's move, guys. Every time Lavenda has to move.
Hey, I'm showing them the hands of God. Okay, sorry, Sis Kenzie.
Mia!
Blessings, baby.
Come on in.
Open for me, yeah. Blessings, baby.
Oh, my cousin.
Blessings for me, yeah.
You guys have seen those people that can only dance when they're sitting down?
Maybe you should be standing up. Hand of God.
I put up.
Dimple.
Hey, well.
God.
I can't see.
It's okay. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome.
Yeah. So we have got.
Yes, we brought some props. You know,
I hope everyone's got their
rooibos
and their
chai. You better have your rooibos and chai. You better have a little tea to sip. You
some
know.
popcorn.
Because we are ready. We are definitely ready to get into the discussion, and we are ready to talk about vulnerability, and we hope that you guys are, gonna be interactive and also share some thoughts.
Be vulnerable.
Be vulnerable
please.
with us on this live. So yeah, I guess we are about ready to start and get into it. So to start off with, we really just want to touch on 3 main things on this live, but again, you know, wherever the discussion goes, we'll just go there like last time. We really wanted to talk about the power of vulnerability and being vulnerable with God, and then vulnerability within our relationships, our friendships, or, you know, like romantic relationships as well.
Kenzie. No, stay.
Oh, wow. Can you guys turn
the
the camera? I can only see half.
If we turn the camera, can you tell us if we are still upright? Because we did try this earlier.
Yeah, and I think it's not upright.
Yeah.
Yeah, so can you tell
Because
us?
we now can see your comment.
We have to turn like this.
But let us know,
so
is this better?
Can you let us know if it's upright? But I don't think it is, so I think we will just keep it the way that it was before.
Let's see.
That way we can just it is the wrong way around.
Oops,
so
sorry.
We
are still
we'll just go back to the way that it was. I think move it back a little bit more.
No, what else do you No.
Let's hope it doesn't fall. Let's hope it stays here. It's better.
You move a bit forward, maybe.
No, I think we have to move back a little bit.
Okay, there we go.
Sis.
Hi guys, I can't see you.
It's not. Maybe just move it back. Okay, yeah, we've moved it back.
So we are gonna get.
You move closer to the front.
Okay. We are gonna get into the discussion, guys. Are we ready? Alright, so welcome.
Where are you from?
Welcome.
Sorry.
We can tell. If you are just joining, we are just about to get into the discussion. Tonight we are going to be discussing vulnerability, the power of vulnerability with God, and vulnerability in our relationships.
You want to keep it like short and
sweet and light. After the podcast that we just recorded, we need to take a breather. It was a little bit heavy. So Auntie Millie,
I know, don't put me
I like putting people on the spot.
What is vulnerability? Vulnerability is being open. And what?
We're asking the Google.
Let me ask Google because I don't want to lie to you people.
Hi Grant, welcome.
Oh, hi.
Welcome.
Hi.
So it's the quality of state of being exposed to the possibility of being attacked or harmed, either physically or emotionally.
Wow.
Oh, God.
And isn't that why we avoid being vulnerable? Because we are scared of being hurt emotionally most of the times. Sis B, why do you think I start off with, you know, asking you guys and stuff like that. Sis B, why do you think welcome. Why do you think you struggle with vulnerability?
Do you struggle?
Do you struggle with vulnerability?
We all struggle with vulnerability. Reason being that we're scared to expose the inner men. Like what we're suffering inside and stuff, and also like because the enemy has kind of made us more like you can't disclose what you're going through because you ain't worthy to do so, and people are gonna judge you, or like people are gonna be talking about your stuff, so that fear kind of stops you from like being able to be vulnerable even with God, because you feel like you need to come to God with a certain way, like you have to be holy, you have to be clean before you can go to the person who makes you clean. So it's like
you're wanting to go to shower, but you know you need to shower.
Exactly.
I think for me, I've struggled with vulnerability for a long time. I feel like guys, sorry, I know I have a low voice, so if it is low, let me know. I'm really trying.
It's a struggle.
It's a struggle. Yeah, I think I've struggled with vulnerability for a long time, and I think for me it stemmed from I probably told someone something.
Yeah. There's
And
people that
then
can keep
I
their
now
mouth
heard
shut.
it in the realms of the
I
spirit.
Heard it
Sometimes
somewhere.
not even in your area, but
But
somewhere.
somewhere.
And you wonder like, what? How?
Do you know we've been knowing stories from people in Brisbane, in Sydney,
Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe, and you know it's like how did the story even travel that far?
And I think like when you do open up to people and like your stories or whatever get told, like you get more hesitant to ever tell.
Being vulnerable is being honest and open.
Yeah.
And it's hard because you're like, wow, I don't want to get hurt again. Like I'm not gonna open up, which is a lie from the devil.
Yeah.
That's
Because
true.
if he can keep you quiet, then that sin is gonna grow. That thing that's inside of you is gonna keep like, what you call it, boiling. You're boiling inside.
Yeah, that's true. And I think it's like the fear of being judged. Yeah, allowing your pain to be visible to others.
But why are we afraid to be judged?
Why are we afraid to be judged? I don't know.
Because we condemn ourselves.
Yeah.
Before we are even condemned by the people. So we assume
We
that.
naturally assume
Yeah.
that people are gonna judge us, but you know sometimes you realize once you've been vulnerable with somebody. Sorry, I talk for my hands. Once you've been vulnerable with somebody that you know they may be also struggling with the same thing. Vulnerability begets vulnerability, and the more we are vulnerable with one another, the more we feel like we can create an environment where a vulnerability just flows naturally, and you'd be surprised what you would find out if you were just vulnerable with other people, especially in the body of Christ. But Christians are the most judgmental people around. They're the most
They'll
judgmental.
look like
They'll the age.
They'll look like
They look like
haven't-
white. What's that scripture? Whitewashed tombs. That's what Jesus said. They look like whitewashed tombs. You look good on the outside, but inside
you're
dead.
nasty.
You're rotten.
Nasty.
But it's just that as
Stinks.
Christians, we've become professionals at presenting an image of what we want others to see,
Yes.
and not our real self.
Yeah.
Exactly, but church is a hospital. We're all going through something.
Yeah, true.
We are experiencing a whole lot of things. Nigel says sometimes it can be out of being exposed to situations where you have to constantly toughen up, like when the whole men don't cry stereotype.
Yes.
talk
Especially
about
our culture.
Yes, vulnerability with men.
Yeah.
That's actually really, especially like mental health with men.
Yes,
So
yes.
true, so true.
Society has perpetuated this idea that like men,
Shouldn't cry.
shouldn't cry,
Tough
and
enough.
men should be
Tough
tough
enough,
and stuff. But men are going through a
A
whole
lot.
bunch of stuff,
Yeah.
and because you know they are afraid to be vulnerable, even with each other. Like I feel like there isn't even a safe space, even within like their own little communities and stuff, to just be open and be like, "Yo, this is what I'm going through." So I feel like females were definitely a lot better at doing that. I don't know, like the men on this live, like what do you guys think? Why do you think it's so hard for you guys to be vulnerable? Not only with each other, but with everyone.
Yeah.
This could also be like a cultural thing as well.
Yeah.
It is a cultural thing.
Like especially in the African culture, it's
Yeah.
really bad where it's like, oh,
You can
I was even gonna speak Shona.
speak
You know,
English.
I don't know. What do you say it in Shona? But like basically like
What do you want to say?
murume guide like murume. What's what?
Maybe Nigel can translate for us.
But basically, like, be a man. And the definition of being a man is like, you can't cry. But Jesus cried.
Oh,
Yeah.
ooh,
He cried
really?
several times.
Yes.
Jesus wept.
Jesus wept.
wept.
He wept.
Mm.
You're gonna weep. Okay? We are out here for you guys.
But there's
Yes.
something that you just said earlier, La. I'm forgetting what you just said, but
Vulnerability begets vulnerability.
that one.
Yes.
Powerful. Yeah, and I think for me, like, there is a need in society for men to be tougher than women, but not to the extent that they are false.
In their emotional responses.
Yeah.
That's really, really interesting. Wow.
But why? Is it to create a safe space for women or
Oh,
for
wow.
women?
masculine.
Yes.
Oh, that genre is too deep for me, Nigel. Tash says masculinity doesn't tolerate vulnerability. It's a weakness.
Ooh.
But we also think that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's wow, God is saying that women are softer than men. But it is a stereotype.
It's a stereotype.
It's a stereotype that society perpetuates. But yeah, I can definitely relate because for so long I thought that vulnerability was a weakness, that I couldn't show people my softer side.
Oh.
So, you know, for
you guys came. Okay, these guys a few weeks ago, I asked them a question, and we always come from each other's ages. But I asked them a question, and I said, what are my three greatest strengths?
Yes.
And then what are my three greatest
Weaknesses.
Yeah.
And I remember La said, Millie, you're a very strong person.
Yeah.
And then you said, and that's a great...
It's also your weakness.
That's also my weakness.
Yeah.
And I didn't get it. But then I realized, like, wow, sometimes you're so used to being strong that you never allow yourself to be weak.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, because for me, I'm like, no, if I open up, then people will see me being weak. And I can't.
I recognize
afford.
that within you because I was like, yo, that's me. So
But
I
then-
recognized it.
But then we don't realize the freedom that comes with being vulnerable. You know, like you were saying that how what did you say again? That state
Vulnerability begets vulnerability.
Yeah, that
Yes.
yeah. You never know. Like you might be going through the same journey with the person that you're trying to hide whatever you're trying to hide from, but and you guys could go on a journey of healing together, and you could be accountable to each other. You know what? Let's press to be a better version of ourselves.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I was going to actually say, like, a lot of hurt comes through people.
Yeah.
But then I also feel like God also restores you through people.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think for me, learning to be vulnerable came through people.
Yeah.
These ladies are talking about me. Wow. It's
We're still in the process.
it's
like-
relatable content.
yes.
Relatable to content. Yes.
But I think for me, learning to be vulnerable was like how you were saying, vulnerability begets vulnerability. And I remember with Eula earlier in the year, and you had said something, and you came to us with an issue.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't
And-
remember.
I don't know the issue.
I
That
do.
issue, but
I do.
you know, I remember when you came with that issue, and I was like, wow.
I was heavy.
I was
It was heavy.
I was like, Tay.
How?
How?
But you know, for me,
Yeah.
it was so freeing.
Yeah.
Because when you
It
came and you opened yourself up and you, like, we could have judged you in the moment.
You could have been like, yo, this
what's
girl,
wrong with this girl?
I ain't too much, man. I the package. Sis, we don't want it.
You know, but it was so freeing
Yeah.
because then I think that's when I started to learn to open up.
Yeah.
And
Was it in your bedroom?
it was in my bed.
Oh yeah, boy. We are being, you know,
Wow,
actually,
yeah, that day we opened up.
We
Yeah.
opened up a lot.
We
Yeah.
did.
And I feel like for like God has really brought a lot of healing.
Yes.
Because
Because we've been in a season where God has been teaching us to be vulnerable. Like everywhere we go.
Be real.
Be real.
Be real. Last week's message. Be real.
Be real,
This
yeah.
message, yes.
But I'm tired of being real.
We're
But
getting
it's
real,
so
yeah.
it's so liberating, honestly, when you find people that very true. At times it's your position, what you represent to others, that makes it difficult to open up and show signs of
Yeah. Oh, yes.
wow.
If
know
you
what
are
I
in a
mean?
position that is respected,
And
a
this is
position
what
of
I was-
power.
Yeah, we mentioned
Especially
that.
in you know, like our society,
Yeah.
where like you're so and so. Maybe you're the pastor. Maybe
Or
you're
the
the
prophet.
pastor's child, or you're
You're the pastor's PA.
Yes.
Oh, I'm a babe.
I'm a bear.
Yes. The pastor's
I'm a bear. I cannot sing.
Because, exactly, because you are a reflection of the person that you are serving.
Yeah,
Ooh.
true.
And it's like, oh, that pastor's PA did this.
What?
Oh, that pastor's daughter did
Did
this.
that,
and now you are a reflection of, you know, your parents or whoever else. So you have to be on your best behavior all the time, and it's tiring, guys. We are tired.
I think that's why a lot of like PK kids kind of like fall, because there's that thing like you need to, like you're saying, they have to represent what their parents are, and they get tired along the way. So hence they become like, oh, these kids who, you know, go about and do whatever they want to do.
The wild
and
children,
go into the worldly things. Because
there are people, if they ever see your weak side, that evaporates your dignity in their eyes. And then Kenzie says it always takes one person being vulnerable for the rest of us to open up. And then Grant says, so true. And Nigel says, spot on. Yes, no, but when
I can see,
she can't see the comments. And when we do put this up on our page, the comments won't show. People won't know what we're talking about.
But I think I definitely can relate to Nigel. Like, I think for me, for a long time, when I was serving in church, and my sister was the pastor. And for me, my gosh, wow, Millie. Any tiny thing, and you feel like you're on a microscope, and you feel like, if people see me in this light, how are they gonna respect me when they actually get to know the real me? And so you always feel the pressure to present this perfect image of yourself. And it's tiring. So I do understand people who do grow up as pastors' kids.
But even the pastor's daughter is also human, right? Even the pastor.
Exactly.
Even the pastor too.
That's where people get it wrong, because we're all still human and we will make mistakes no matter how much we try. And as people, we should just allow each other to be human. And then Tash says, we do not realize how exhausting being strong is until we become weak. Wow. Having to learn to be extremely vulnerable recently, I realized how much of a burden it had been being strong for so long. I can definitely relate.
Wow.
I relate to you.
And this is the thing, is the freedom that you experience. For me, when I put down my walls, I no longer considered like, what are people gonna say? And even there were things I convinced myself that, oh, I don't do this because ABC. But it's like when I put down my walls, and here's the thing, like we just recorded shame and guilt, right? But the thing is that when you have exposed yourself to God, and you bring out your own issues,
so it doesn't matter anymore.
Who's going to come and start being like,
because only God can judge me. Who gonna check me, bro?
Who's going to
even the enemy doesn't have a hold of you.
Exactly.
So there's that freedom that you give yourself. You have your own
liberty.
Yes. You have the key to your own freedom.
Hey Gladys.
Hi Gladys.
There is freedom in the truth, and being vulnerable is being your true self. Yes. That is so true. Totally agree.
And it goes down to being authentic. Authentic, and sometimes it's not about what people are going to say, but you could just be tired of the hurt you have experienced. That's so true. And that's what we were saying earlier, that sometimes you've opened up to people and they break your trust.
Yes.
Oh, Sheena!
Welcome, Sheena.
Hi, Sheena.
Welcome, babe.
Babe. You just know his babe.
Yes, they just
nice to finally meet you, babe.
Hi, Sheena. Lovely to have you. Oh, the comments are like moving a bit fast. Yeah.
Well, only God can judge, but we fear people's opinions more than God himself.
Yes,
true.
That's so true.
And which goes back to like, why are we just so afraid of what people's judge? It's not like if people judge you, you're going to go to hell.
Yeah.
You know, there's a verse in the Bible which talks about be afraid of the one who can get rid of both your spirit and your soul.
Wow.
Don't be afraid of
Auntie really always coming through with the word. Yes. Besides the fact that you are a whole individual, it's with possibly a unique line of thoughts that is meant to impact others in your own God-assigned way. And then somebody else says,
before God, and with courage you can be this way before man.
Oh wow, oh nice. Say hello back to them. Hi family. Hi.
That's an important thing that Grant just said, actually.
Yes.
And that was going to be part of our next topic. How do you be vulnerable with God?
Yes.
Vulnerability with God.
Vulnerability with God is like so difficult, and we just finished talking about that in the episode, how like sometimes when we were recording shame and guilt, and how, you know, sometimes when you are in that state of shame and guilt, it is so like overwhelming, and you then end up getting to a place where you're like, oh, I can't be vulnerable with God, because you're like, oh, I'm unworthy to even go into his presence and stuff. And it's just it's crazy, guys. But what do you guys think?
I think with being vulnerable with God, it needs you to tap in. You need to set yourself. You know, set yourself and know like what are the things that are eating you up. And obviously you've tried so many things. You've told friends it's not working. You know, you've done a lot. You've prayed, but sometimes also being vulnerable draws you closer to God. Maybe that's the one thing that God is saying, okay, I need you to do this so that you and I can, you know, do as deep cries out to deep. So you guys could actually have that intimacy and that one-on-one. Because I think the problem that we do is when we are facing problems, instead of bringing them to God, we kind of like tell our friends first, but we don't tell the person who knows when we are doing those things. You know, he knew before you even did those things. So it's very important to start with God and bring stuff to God and reveal stuff to God first before you bring. And also we need to be careful who we tell as well, because not everybody is for you. You know, so
Some
you need
people,
to
some people are just waiting for your downfall.
Yes. Some people can use that to destroy you.
They'll take your story to the world.
They
Present your
will.
story to the world.
They definitely will.
Yeah, I like what you said, Sis B, about how vulnerability definitely with God draws you closer to God. And I feel like for me, let me be vulnerable.
Yes.
We like it's going honest.
I'm not gonna tell you what happened.
I am thinking that finally.
I'm not gonna tell what happened, but I remember there was a situation that happened, and I had to be so raw and so real with God, and I had to go to God and actually say, you know what, God, right now I'm really angry, and I'm really angry at you because you told me A, B, C, D, and A, B, C, D didn't come out that way. So let's have a discussion. Let's have a talk. And I think a lot of times what a lot of Christians do is you're so afraid to be honest with God, but the thing is that you end up building a lot of bitterness with God.
Yes.
And then you wake up one day, you're no longer expectant of God. You don't even, when you read the word of God, you don't believe it.
My God.
And then you just end up operating in a very religious spirit just to register that I'm still a Christian. But inside, you know that your relationship with God is dead.
It's dead. I think it's important. Like sometimes, yes, obviously God is holy, but also he's our dad. Like sometimes you have to come to him, yes, and our friend, and tell him like, God, you know what, I'm actually mad at you. Because you know what, even in a normal relationship, you're gonna have moments where you're happy, you're sad, you cry, but you also have moments of anger and disappointment. Sometimes just tell him like, God, I'm mad at you. You know, I was expectant of something. You know, I think for me, like there was a time where like a family member died, and I was so afraid to tell God like, I'm mad at you. Like I'm actually mad at you because I thought you were gonna bring healing. But that's not how it turned out. But you're like, oh, but God is holy. You have to fear God. And
then we say a lot of Christian cliches.
It's a cliche, and you can't say like, oh, you know, God, I'm mad. Oh, thank you, Grant, for coming. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, Grant.
Bye, Grant. See you later.
Nice to meet you.
Did he really tell you that, or is that what you wanted him to tell you?
Sis can't My God.
Coming for our edges,
Whoa,
we see you.
Whoa. That's a whole lot better than Jacob, who had to fist fight an angel.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So, vulnerability with others. In relationships, in our friendships, we've already spoken about how, God has been putting us through a season of vulnerability. And it's been crazy how we've all been in every service we go to, they're coming for our edges.
Yeah.
Me personally, God has put people in my life that have been coming for my edges. I remember we went people. I remember we went to lunch, and we sat down.
And that lunch.
And
the one that we came for each other's edges.
And we sat down and we told each other some honest truth.
Yeah.
Be like, yo, this is your issue.
This is your problem.
This is your problem. And
I'll never forget that. I had to go and repent.
It was you feel so oh my God, my friends are coming for me. They're attacking me.
Yeah.
But I feel like that changed the trajectory of our friendship.
Yeah.
Because now I can call them up and be like, yo, come on.
I'll be like,
yeah.
really?
Fix yourself. Fix yourself.
Fix yourself.
Fix yourself, because now we can be vulnerable with one another and open with one another.
Another situation where me and B were attacking.
They're always coming for
we came for last edges.
Yeah.
And she was a little bit spicy.
She was. And it was time for prayer. And she wasn't praying how she literally prayed.
I couldn't pray.
Like, guys,
I couldn't pray, but it's okay now.
Okay.
It's okay. We found God.
It's okay, but we thank God.
God came through in the end.
We had to be vulnerable. We had to be vulnerable. And I think that's one thing. For me, I know that I definitely prayed for friendships where I could be open with.
Yeah.
And so I think you do have to pray for those people. It's not everybody that you can be open and honest with, because these streets are not loyal.
Yeah.
These streets are not loyal.
Streets ain't loyal.
You hear your stories all over Australia. It's crazy. But have you guys ever had moments where you've had to be vulnerable? I know me and Juices Kenzie are always vulnerable out here. But yeah, have you had moments of vulnerability? And if so, how did that help you? And yeah, have you been vulnerable with God, or are you in a season where you feel like you actually need to begin to be vulnerable with God? And some of us are able to be vulnerable with God, but we can't be vulnerable with people. But God is spirit, and at times He works through people, as we said before. You're gonna need people to just love on you, to just be there for you and stuff. And sometimes we can't be our real selves with those around us, and it's crippling.
It's exhausting.
It is exhausting.
It's exhausting.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's hear your comments, guys.
Oh, Sis Kenzie says all the time.
time.
Because she knows we're coming for each other's edges. Yeah.
And it's like, the Bible talks about as iron sharpens iron. And that's what it's like with vulnerability. That as you're vulnerable with others, as you're vulnerable with God, it's like your character is being sharpened. And it's being, what do you call it? Yeah, you're being sharpened.
You're being refined, purified.
You take another you desire.
Yes, that song
sounds nice to sing it, but
Yeah,
the
but
actual
it-
process.
The process is hard.
It
hurts.
hard.
It hurts.
It hurts.
God will begin to stretch you, and I feel like I've definitely been in that season. But testimony, I can definitely see now. There were things that I was saying a month ago that now I'm oh my God, that's crazy. Oh yeah, I'm never gonna do this and do that, or say this and say this to people, because I see it as weakness. But now I'm and it's weird how God can change things. Now I find myself just wanting to be vulnerable and open. And I'm how? But
And I feel like people, one thing I've noticed is that the the depths of my relationships have gotten a lot better. Like even like with my family and with my friends, and it's like I remember I was talking to my cousin the other time, and I've never had such a deep conversation with him like that. And for me, it was such a turning point where I was like, whoa, this vulnerability stuff works.
That's right.
I was like, it actually
Straight to the
works.
heart,
Like,
though.
wow, when you just put down your walls, people can also feel safe to put down their walls.
Yeah, that's so
true.
true. Yeah, it's creating that safe environment. So, Speed, before we wrap up?
Yeah, I guess the freedom that comes with it, guys. You know, for me, when my friends come for my edges, because I've been praying the one that says, "Search me, O God, and know my anxious thoughts." Psalms 36, I think, verse 22. That part, like, it's been one of the scriptures that I'm still praying, like, because, you know, for me to get to that wholeness, I need to empty myself first, you know, before I get that wholeness. So I need to empty myself first and work within everything that has really hurt me, be it from the childhood trauma, be it from past relationship, be it from the self-infliction that I've put myself through. So it is very important. Very important to work on you.
Work on you.
Invest on you. It's okay to be selfish and say, you know what, I'm focusing on me. You know,
Best investment you can ever
best
make.
investment
It's
you can.
yourself, yeah.
It's yourself. I'm forever grateful because, you know, coming here has taught me to be like that. You know, I think.
I would say that as well.
Yeah,
And I
for
mean,
me.
like, when you do go to like a very,
Yeah.
when you come from an African background,
Yeah.
you are very used to shit.
And also, you know, you just shake it over, but you don't deal with it.
You don't deal with
You
it.
want to act like, oh, I'm this holier than thou. I know how
You
to
can pray
speak
5 hours in tongues.
in tongues,
But
but
let's talk
it's-
about your pride. Woo! Let's talk about. We don't want to talk about that. We don't want to do it.
yeah,
You
so
know.
you really need to deal with
Taj
it.
said vulnerability brought freedom and healing. It also brought accountability. You check yourself because you don't want to go back to the person you opened up to and say, I fallen again. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
true.
Accountability.
Accountability is very important, guys. Accountability. You need somebody to be accountable to.
Yeah.
Somebody who can cover you as well.
Who can catch you.
You know, who can call you to order and say, yo, what you're doing is wrong. You need to
y'all remember
check
when you used to
yourself.
call me? Neil, where are you?
Literally, we call people.
You
Where
call
are you?
They used to call me and be like, where are you?
Where are
Video
you?
Video
call.
call.
Send the newspaper. The
Are you in
today's
bed?
newspaper. Are you in bed?
Sis, we want to see.
We want to see.
Sis,
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
very
no,
true.
definitely requires accountability.
Kids
And
said-
maybe that's why people don't want to be vulnerable, because people don't
Yeah,
want to be
true.
accountable.
yeah.
Kenta says, I agree with that because I wouldn't be the person I am if I didn't move overseas.
Wow.
That's so true
True.
because I think, you know, there are some certain environments where you really cannot be vulnerable. And if you cannot be vulnerable, you are not truly being your authentic self.
I think also because our culture is a busy culture. So there's always something going on. Like, you don't have time for self. Like, there's something always going on within, it's either deaths or weddings or baby showers. kitchen top ups.
What you say?
Kitchen tea
parties.
You know, everything. So you hardly, like, you know, next thing you know, you have church practice. So you don't hardly have time to sit down and be like, yo, I want to, you know, introspect and just get
Kenta says, accept my request and I'll prove that I'm in bed.
No,
We believe you.
the ones that dodge where they are.
Yes,
Be like,
that we have.
where are you? Oh my, it's
It's a
I can hear you. It's breaking, but they hear you.
This one is off.
exactly.
Yeah.
Wow, but yeah, it's been quite a good discussion. I think we definitely get vulnerable in our next episode 8, and whew, If you have not listened to our podcast yet, I think
Please.
definitely listen to Rejection.
Yeah.
And then go into Shame and Guilt, because I think that a lot of people are going to be set free and they're going to be loosed. And we were vulnerable. Not only with ourselves anymore.
With you guys.
We exposed ourselves.
We exposed
That's
ourselves.
for you.
That's for real. We
Real
exposed
though.
ourselves.
Yeah.
For your viewing pleasure.
Wow, Mills.
Yes. So definitely catch the next episode. It is gonna be coming out on Thursday. As usual. Oh, Shemaine. Hello.
Shemaine.
Welcome, sis. Welcome. Good to have you. So the episode will be dropping on Thursday next week, and I think it is going to be our most powerful episode yet. And it's definitely going to change things.
Yeah.
I think
I just feel a shift in the
shift in the
spirit.
spirit.
In the realm of
Shall
the
I go
spirit.
deeper?
In the atmosphere.
Shall I go deeper?
Yes, we're releasing files. We
Yeah.
are releasing
Our own
files.
files.
Our own files.
Yeah.
Not other people.
Yes, we don't gossip.
We don't listen.
We are releasing our own files, and it is going to be
gonna be
amazing.
very
And I think that, definitely what we want people to do is get involved in the discussion, because definitely there are a lot of things in the body of Christ that make you feel ashamed, that make you feel guilty. And Nigel says that vulnerability, though it doesn't seem to make sense, actually allows for God to prove himself in us, for we have this heavenly treasure in earthen weaker vessels.
Wow.
Yes, that
Are
is.
you a preacher?
Aye, Nigel,
Go
you
deeper,
are a
man,
writer.
go.
You know, Nigel, I would love for you to write for my blog, because I see you commenting and I'm always like, oh, Nigel can write. I would love for you to write on my blog. I will be sending you a message. But yes, you're always sharing so much wisdom, and we really appreciate your support. I hope you got our email. We are so grateful for your support. You always bring energy,
I know.
and I'm always like, we need to respond to
to
Nigel,
Nigel.
but we need to like give him the same level of energy. So
Energy,
sometimes we don't respond to your comments on time, but it is because we are a little bit busy, and because we really want to give time to respond to your messages and your comments, and we are so very grateful, because Nigel literally analyzes the episode, and literally I'm like, wow. I'm always amazed whenever I read your comments. So we are so very grateful for you, Nigel. Keep the same energy.
Please, even in our 100th episode.
Keep it up. Yeah, but I think we do have to wrap up, guys, because like last time we have not eaten. Once more. The other episode ran a little bit late, so we couldn't do all the things that we wanted to do before coming on. Yes, we were crying.
You're crying.
I had to come here looking all okay. Now with red eyes.
Anything to add? Final thoughts before we leave the fans, leave the people?
I would say recommend this to your friends, people that you feel like they would benefit from this podcast.
Especially the shame and guilt episode.
The shame and
That
guilt
one is-
episode, as well as the rejection one, because we've all faced rejection, we've all faced shame and guilt in a way, and so I would say recommend this. Tell your aunts, tell your uncles, your friends, everybody.
Ladies, it's time to go be vulnerable with myself and go to sleep.
You know what?
do
One of
understand.
the other things that the other things I like to do is actually have a journal. Something that this is not my journal. Something like this. And that's where I am very honest.
Yes.
Very
My prayer journal is where
If somebody ever found my prayer journal, wow, it's late for me. Because I write everything.
I like and being vulnerable.
I think it's a really good practice.
It's
practice
soothing
to
to the soul.
It is. And when you see things on paper, and sometimes when You look back
yeah,
after a week, after a month, and you're like, wow, I can't believe
God took me
Yeah.
from here and I'm
Look
now
at
here.
where I am right now.
Yeah, and I literally remember my last entry in my prayer journal. I don't think I've written in there for a month because I literally was mad at God. I was frustrated. I was like, God, I've waited for something for 5 years. And you, ooh, the ladies know what we're talking about. I've waited for something.
But it came.
In Jesus' name.
We prayed, and I was so like, I was finally vulnerable with God, and I was like, God, for 5 years I have waited, and I have prayed, and yet it doesn't seem like you want to give me this thing.
Yeah.
And you don't want to give me this thing, and then it's so funny now looking back. Like I look back and I laugh at that because I'm like, but I was so vulnerable with God, and yet God after that put me in a season where I was learning to be vulnerable. You know, we're going to church, and it was crazy, and then to now, and yes, praise break, glory be to Jesus.
Yeah, I think also before we close, also it's important to also be silent. And be still.
Yes.
There's something about being still, and though sometimes
It's not
God can
every
be
day.
silent
It's not
as
every
well.
day you have to just be shut.
Yes, you need sometimes.
No,
we,
do it, but you learn to be.
Sometimes
Yes, but sometimes we rush too much. We rebo, but we don't really sit down and listen to God. Sometimes God wants to say something, but because you want to end prayer and go, God comes through. Yeah, we tarry. And God's timing is always the best. Hallelujah, somebody. Type it in a man down there.
That's the vision, man. Tiring.
Yes.
It shall
Wait
come
for
to
it,
pass.
for it shall surely come.
Hi, Bible, bravo.
Yes. No, we
Yeah,
don't.
but like as I was saying, just take time to be still
Yeah.
and listen to God. It's very important. And also for God to tear down the veil. Because I feel like a lot of us are spiritually blind and spiritually deaf. So it is very important that we pray that God tears down the veil so that we could be able to listen to God. If God says, okay, be still, you are still.
Yes,
If
you
God
are.
says, move, you move.
Hey.
Okay?
And I think it's important to be still in the presence of God because
But we are tired of waiting.
Wait
Wait a
on
little
the
longer.
Lord. He knows what you need. He will give you just in time. Wait.
Wait on the Lord.
Wait
Hold
on
on a
the
little
Lord.
longer, because sometimes I've realized that moment when you are on the brink of giving up,
Yeah.
your blessing
The thing
or
is-
your miracle is
Come on
literally
now.
so close. You just need to hold on a little longer.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes I think in that moment of being vulnerable and being honest with God, like that's where the wisdom of God can actually come in. And actually, like God actually starts to give you like strategies and ideas.
Yes.
Sometimes with that thing that you're praying for, sometimes with that thing that you're waiting on God for. So if you don't learn to be still and you don't learn to be vulnerable, it's like, you know, if you don't open up, what is God going to reveal to you?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And also, it is important that the altar is always lit.
The altar.
Yeah, the altar.
The prayer altar.
The altar.
Oh,
Yes, the prayer
okay,
altar
okay,
is
okay.
always lit. It's always on
Yes.
flames.
Yes.
We can't approach the one who created us, who knows our very intimate details as a macho pretense. Oh yeah.
Right. Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, that's so
Nice.
I come through.
I think if anything, if you take anything from this session, is vulnerability is so important.
Yeah.
Especially vulnerability between you and God. Forget the people, forget everybody
people
else.
for now. Right now, work
But,
on you with vulnerability with God.
God.
Yeah.
David in the Psalms paints a very vulnerable, broken soul.
Yeah.
Yet he was the Goliath killer. Yes, like what you present on the outside, it is a facade most of the times, because the real you is there. Not a lot of people get to see that. So it is true.
You know what? Like there's something that my coach always says, and she always says, you know what, Millie, the real you is waiting to literally come out. The being of who you are is literally waiting to be made manifest.
Yeah.
And you have to do that work to allow that authentic self of who you are for people to see. And so you have to be willing to break down those walls so that you can be seen. But if you're behind the wall, no one can see you.
Yes, see and be seen.
Yeah,
Shine your
eyes. They must shine your eyes. Their eyes on you.
Oh wow, but it is almost 9 p.m.
Yes,
and we must wrap up. We have gone definitely over time. But thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for staying this long. And if you are catching this on repeat on our Insta page or something like that, let us know in the comment section what you think of the discussion. And
give us suggestions. Exactly.
give us suggestions. We would love for you to tune in next Thursday for our next episode, and the one after that is going to be forgiveness, which is going to be I think that one is going to be one where we get even more vulnerable. From us, it is good night, kids.
Good morning, good
Oh,
afternoon.
good night. Oh, yes, good afternoon. Yes. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we will catch you later. Bye.